Are you aware of how good Josh Green has been to start this NBA season? Chances are you're not, you casual. I love how casual has become like a slur word in NBA lexicon. Oh, shut up, casual. Whoa. Not in front of the kids, man. In the offseason, I posted a Josh Green propaganda video where I talked about why I thought Josh Green could have a really nice season for the Mavericks and turn into a really solid role player. And I just kind of want to revisit that a little bit because, man, I've been so encouraged and excited by what I've seen from Josh Green to start this season. I might have to do this entire video in the Josh Green cam. I mean, really, I feel like a proud father in a lot of ways. Like my son is blossoming in front of my eyes. Just want to take a little peek under the hood statistically for Josh Green. Go over some clips as one big happy family with you guys just to talk about why Josh Green has been such an important piece for the Mavericks to start the season and has exceeded even I think I was a little bit higher on Josh Green than a lot of people, but he still exceeded even my wildest expectations to start the season. Let's start with some stats, all right? Let's start with this one. Net rating. Usually this stat, it's better for teams to see, how good teams are. Their net rating is usually the best way to go about it. The Mavs currently have the 5th best net rating in the NBA, by the way, but that's neither here nor there. Josh Green himself currently has the 2nd best net rating in the NBA among qualified players. Now, you might be wondering to yourself, who's he behind, right? Who's number 1? Jokic, Giannis, Steph? It's Dwight Powell. Dwight Powell is number 1, and Josh Green is number 2. That's right. Now, net rating is not the most, it's a difficult statistic to use in arguments because there's just a lot that goes into it. What rotations are we looking at? How many minutes are we looking at? Is this player playing in garbage time? But when you watch Josh Green and Dwight Powell, honestly, this passes the eye test. It does. When those two are on the floor, the Mavericks are just better. When Josh Green is on the floor, the Mavericks are just better. They move around better defensively. They're all on a wire defensively. They move around, right? Offensively, they run in transition more. They're getting good looks. They're just a more exciting, fun team to watch when Josh Green is out on the floor. He's 7th in defensive net rating. He's 12th in offensive rating. Him and Dwight Powell are the only 2 guys in the league to be top 12 in both of those statistics. And really, the most encouraging part about Josh Green's season has been his offense, right? His production offensively. And that's always been the thing with Josh Green. He's always been a good defender, right? He's always tried defensively. He's always been a really high motor, high effort guy, but it's always been offense. More specifically, it's been the confidence, right? He's had his moments here and there. He's had a double-digit assist game. He's had moments where he's knocked down a couple of threes in a playoff game, but it's just doing it consistently. It's having the confidence to do it, and we're starting to see that this season. I mean, some of these numbers to start for Josh Green are insane. He has a 92% true shooting percentage. 92, that is an obscene number. It's the best in the NBA by 10 whole points, right? Grant Williams is 2nd with 82, which is also a crazy high number. Just for a frame of reference, the greatest true shooting percentage all time over the course of an entire season is 83% by James Donaldson in 1986. Okay, former Mavs legend, by the way. Am I looking that far in advance? Yeah, I am. Why not? It's just fun. It's fun to be delusional. If you guys haven't tried it a couple of times, just try it. I promise you guys will never go back to the regular fandom ever again. Let's look at some of the other statistical stuff for Josh Green offensively, okay? 1.58 points per possession in transition. That puts him in the 94th percentile. 1.69 points per possession on spot ups, which puts him in the 99th percentile. Why is that number so high? Because he's currently shooting 66% on threes. The highest mark in the NBA for anybody attempting over 1 3 a game. 66%. He's 10 of 15. As Dorian Finney-Smith would say, he's shooting the shit out of the ball, which is what Dorian Finney-Smith did say at a post-game press conference, actually. And he is. And it's a confidence thing, right? There was this possession against the Nets where he has the ball in the corner and Royce O'Neal's kind of giving him some space. And Josh Green, he up fakes a couple of times. You could tell he wants to shoot it. And then he passes it out. And I was like, Josh, you got to shoot. In fact, I was live streaming my reaction to that game. I'll just show you how I felt. And to Josh Green. Josh Green? Ooh, he wanted it. Josh, don't be afraid to shoot that, man. Passes it out to Dinwiddie. 9 on the shot clock. They go back to Josh Green in the corner. Now he's shooting it. What did I tell you, Josh? Never question yourself. Always believe, Josh. It's just good to see Josh Green have the confidence he's had so far. He's going to shoot threes, even if there's a guy somewhat close to him. He's going to attack aggressive closeouts. He's going to try to finish at the rim. There are still some moments where he has the ball under the basket and you would just like to see him go up. I mean, what's the worst that happens? You get blocked, so what? Everybody gets blocked from time to time. But it's been much better this season than when we last saw him, which was in the playoffs, where he did become pretty much unplayable because his confidence was so shot. So it's really good to see, especially after all the reports in the summer that he was just working his ass off in the gym and he was using his benching in the playoffs as motivation. It's just good to see him come out and start the season like this. And I think the most encouraging thing for me offensively, right? The shooting numbers are fantastic, but the Mavericks half-court offense is 6.1 points per 100 possessions better when Josh Green is out on the floor. This is a really good number to look at. Again, we're only 10% into the season, but that's a decent sample size. That's a good number, right? That's a very encouraging number because throughout Josh Green's career, the Mavericks in the half-court setting have been much worse offensively when he's on the floor. Like, they just have been. It's difficult, right? It's difficult to be a great offense when you have a player that defenses don't even really account for. Like, they know that they don't even have to put a man on you, and if they do put a man on you, they know that they could put their worst man on you defensively. But if Josh Green's going to start knocking down threes at a high clip and he's going to start shooting these threes, then defenses have to at least check for Josh Green, and that just opens up so many things for you offensively. So it's good to see. Mavs are also running in transition 4.5 percentage points more when Josh Green's out there. We know that's what he does, right? He's probably the most athletic guy on the team. He'll get out in transition. He'll throw down some nasty dunks. Man, he's had some nasty dunks so far to start the season. I mean, like that kind of nasty. That kind of reaction. He also has a 7% offensive rebound rate, which is second in the NBA among wings. And that passes the eye test. That is a hustle thing, right? That's just, he's not enforcing his will on anybody. He's not getting big and boxing guys out. He's just soaring in when you least expect it. He's coming and he's stealing the ball from guys who are sleeping a little bit. Those are the hustle plays that give you another possession that really help in the long run. And that's what Josh Green has always brought to the table. So it's just nice to see, the hustle plays still there while the offensive production is starting to tick up. And the defense is still there. It has been his whole career, right? The Mavs are 18.5 points per 100 possessions better defensively when Josh Green is on the floor. I mean, that's a huge number. That is a huge on-off split. He's athletic. He's quick. He's a smart defender. He knows where he needs to be, right? He's an incredibly high motor. He'll fly around the floor, close out here. He's really good in those possessions where, there's a trap maybe, and Josh Green becomes responsible for playing 2-on-1, basically, for being the 2-on-1 defender, defending a guy in the corner or defending a guy in the wing. And it feels like he's always really good in those moments at flying around and getting to wherever he needs to be, right? But there is some other interesting numbers defensively where I am a little bit, okay, this is some small sample size shit, and I don't really know how you can account for this. Opponents are shooting 7% worse when Josh Green's on the floor, right? That makes sense. He's a really good defender, and he forces you to make tough shots. But they're also shooting 10 percentage points worse at the rim. Now, I don't know how much I can attribute that to Josh Green, because it's not like he's a rim protector, but it's still a pretty interesting stat. And I think a little bit more interesting is that opponents are shooting at the rim far less when Josh Green is on the floor. Again, I don't know how much I can attribute that to Josh Green, but it's his video, so I'm going to try anyway. And here it goes. Here's how I'm going to spin this in Josh Green's favor, okay? He's probably the best guy on the team at keeping a guy in front of him, right? He's not going to get blown past very easily. He's not going to be a traffic cone defensively. He's not going to give up layup lines. There are some guys on this team, and I'm not going to single anybody out. There are some guys on the Dallas Mavericks, and I'm not going to name any names. Some guys who are potentially in the lead when it comes to the MVP race. Some guys who are the #1 MVP candidate so far to start the season. Again, I'm not going to name any names, who just get blown past incredibly easily on the perimeter. Josh Green's not like that. He's going to make you work to get past him. So that kind of makes some sense how, when he's out there, teams are shooting at the rim far fewer than when he's not on the floor. He also has a 2.4 steal percentage, which puts him in the 93rd percentile. That's what he's always been good at, right? Being active in passing lanes, being a good on-ball defender, right? Good active hands. He just needs to be on the floor like he just does. I think kids starting to realize that. When he gets over 15.5 minutes per game, the Mavs are 5-1. When he gets under that mark, they are 1-2. And what comes to my mind is that Thunder game, which I think was actually his lowest minute total of the season. And the Mavericks just completely collapsed the moment Josh Green left the floor. And if that doesn't happen, if Josh Green stays out there a little bit longer and the Mavs end up winning that game against the Thunder, they are the #1 seed in the Western Conference. Like, I feel like that's kind of getting overlooked. The Mavericks are a couple of pants shitting away from them being the #1 seed in the Western Conference. It's kind of insane to think about. I wanted to look at some lineup stuff for Josh Green just to see who is he playing really well with. What are some potential lineups that we could see more of in the future. And as of right now, the most frequent and most successful lineup with Josh Green has been Luka, Josh Green, Tim Hardaway, interestingly enough, Maxi Kleber, and Christian Wood. This lineup, I think they've played something like 60 or 70 possessions together, but this lineup is putting up an absurd 156.9 points per 100 possessions offensively when they are on the floor. So this team is that lineup is just scoring a ton, and it kind of makes sense. You have Luka, you have Josh Green who can run out in transition, you have Christian Wood, you have Tim Hardaway, Maxi Kleber. I mean, pretty much everybody in this lineup can shoot. But I am interested to see what that lineup would look like if you replaced Tim Hardaway with Dorian Finney-Smith. Like, I think that could be an interesting lineup. Interestingly enough, that exact lineup has played, and they have been outscored 23 points per 100 possessions whenever those 5 are out on the floor. Granted, it's only been 8 possessions, so I don't really care about that. I'm interested to see where this goes. I mean, if Josh Green keeps playing like this, what's his minute structure going to look like? Is he going to get 30-plus minutes a night? Is he going to be in the closing lineup? Right? The kid's been experimenting with closing lineups recently. Are we going to see Jason Kidd insert Josh Green into the closing lineup? I'm really interested to see. I hope he continues this season the way that he has started this season. It would be historic. I don't see it ending historically, but you never know. Always believe in yourself, Josh Green. Always believe.